Greetings, everyone, and welcome to SpaceWeek Live on this Sunday, May 1st, 2022. This is episode 117. So, jumping right into it, last week, the James Webb Space Telescope's long process of mirror alignment was completed. NASA released a series of crispy sharp images from JWST's 5 science instruments, NIRCam, NIRSpec, MIRI, NIRIS, and the Fine Guidance Sensor. According to NASA, the optical performance of the telescope continues to be better than the engineering team's most optimistic predictions. Next is the 2-month process of science instrument commissioning, which is the last step before science operations can commence this summer. Closer to Earth, last Sunday, the crew of Axiom 1 undocked from the space station on their way back home, after having their mission time almost doubled due to the unfavorable weather in the recovery area.
There we go. We're seeing the drones deploy now.
Live view from onboard Dragon Endeavour of those drogue parachutes. Capsule's going about 350 miles per hour.
Nominal descent rate for 2 healthy drogues.
They splashed down in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Jacksonville, Florida.
Right now, I think those parachutes slowed the vehicle down to about, is that
About 15 miles per hour, yep. As you can tell by the cheers behind us, we can confirm that the Dragon capsule with the AX-1 crew has splashed down. Dragon Endeavour has
So, again, they had planned to come back more than 5 days earlier, but uncooperative weather in the Atlantic Ocean prevented their return, which was a benefit for them because it almost doubled their overall mission time. On Thursday, cosmonauts Oleg Artemayev and Denis Matveyev did another spacewalk to further prepare the European robotic arm for use on the Russian side of the International Space Station. The long-awaited ERA was delivered aboard or on the Russian Nauka science module, which was finally arrived at the space station last year. So you can see there the European robotic arm sticking out on the left side as they play with their red flag. I think that was a rag they were using for something. But yeah, successful spacewalk. Good job, cosmonauts. And very soon we will have a second articulated robotic arm functioning on the space station to service the Russian side, as opposed to the Canadarm2 on the American side. Then, on a beautiful Friday afternoon, SpaceX launched another batch of 53 Starlink satellites using the same first-stage booster that launched the Axiom 1 mission just 3 weeks earlier. That's a 21-day turnaround for that booster. Very impressive. It was the booster's sixth launch.
Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Lift off for Starlink. Go Falcon. Go Starlink 416. Vehicle is pitching downrange. And when the chamber pressure is nominal.
Camera a little bit shaky. As we've come to expect, as the norm, the launch was entirely successful, and the booster came back down to land on the drone ship. Just read the instructions.
We are coming up on the landing burn here for first stage.
Landing burn.
Great timing. Landing burn has begun. Again, this will also last about 20 seconds, and we should see the landing legs deploy just before touchdown, and some great views here.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 2 is in terminal guidance.
Incredible views.
Great views there. Best views we've had of the landing in a while, I would say. But, also on Friday, a Long March 2C launched a pair of commercial Earth observation satellites from China's main launch site, Jiuquan, in the northwest Gobi Desert. Siwei 1 and 2, also called SuperView Neo 1, 01, and 02, have a resolution of 0.5 meters and were developed by the China Academy of Space Technology. Interestingly, we're not seeing a bunch of insulation panels fall off the rocket this time. I don't know if that's because the weather there at Jiuquan didn't require the insulation or what, but most Chinese launches we do see a lot of white insulation panels falling off during an ascent. And to cap off Friday's launches, Russia finally conducted their first orbital launch of the Angara 1.2 rocket from Plesetsk Cosmodrome. Per official sources, the launch was a complete success, and I apologize for the lack of audio in the coming clip. Roscosmos thought it would be a good idea to play music over the launch. So until the completion of Vostochny Cosmodrome in the far east of Russia a few years ago, Plesetsk was Russia's only spaceport within the borders of that country. Their main spaceport, of course, has always been Baikonur Cosmodrome. That's an animation. Their main spaceport has always been Baikonur Cosmodrome, but that is in Kazakhstan. So Russian government military launches are conducted from Plesetsk. Angara 1.2, let me switch here. Angara 1.2 is Angara A5's smaller sibling, able to launch 3.8 tons of payload into a 200-kilometer by 60-degree orbit. A suborbital variant, called Angara 1.2 PP, was launched back in 2014 on a flight lasting 22 minutes and carrying a 1,400-kilogram dummy payload. On Saturday, there was a partial solar eclipse visible only in southern South America and Drake Passage, the 800-kilometer-wide strait connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. You may have heard of a blue moon, which is a second full moon in the same month. Well, this was a black moon, a second new moon in the same month. It's no different than any other new moon, it just has a special name because for some reason people are obsessed with assigning arbitrary names to lunar events. But this was obviously a sunset view. Let's see if we can, there we go. So, partial solar eclipse. Also on Saturday, a Long March 11 launched from a sea-based platform in the Yellow Sea with 5 more Jilin-1 remote sensing satellites. Cool launch system. No doubt adapted from military ICBM systems. All right. So, in other Chinese news, China Central Television, the official state-run media agency, issued a copyright claim against this channel for airing a clip of the Shenzhou 13 taikonauts landing in their capsule. The Chinese government filed, let me reiterate that, the Chinese government filed a copyright claim against a YouTuber for showing the official Chinese video clip of their crew landing on an unbiased space news program. This reminds me of the claim I got from Doordarshan for showing footage of an Indian rocket launch. It's ridiculous, petty, and unnecessary. But rules being rules, I removed the offending clip from that SpaceWeek episode. Unfortunately, that means that the live chat log is no longer available for that episode. So, apologies, but it is what it is. YouTube is an imperfect platform, but it's what we've got. In the future, I may not be showing video of Chinese crew operations because copyright claims are the enemy of monetized channels. And so, there you go. On the other side of the world, the FAA has further delayed the release of their P, spelled PEA, or Programmatic Environmental Assessment, pertaining to the potential environmental impacts of SpaceX's Starbase facility in Texas. The draft PEA was released back in September 2021, but the final report has been delayed repeatedly, month after month, as the FAA considers the tens of thousands of public comments that have poured in. I think they actually have a legal obligation to evaluate those comments, and so the more that come in, the longer the process takes. Until they receive clearance from the FAA, SpaceX will be unable to conduct their long-awaited orbital test flight of Starship with Super Heavy. So, spinning the wheels on that one. Now, kinda sorta looking back at space history, this Wednesday, May 4th, is not only Star Wars Day, may the 4th be with you, but it marks the anniversary of the day I started streaming Starman 24/7 back in 2018. The Starman stream ran for almost 4 years, until January 2022, when I retired it to switch over to Satellite Time Lapses. Do make sure to stop by the Satellite Time Lapse stream sometime. Say hi, chill, and marvel at the beauty of our world. Looking ahead to this week's events, on Monday, May 2nd at 6:35 p.m. Eastern, 22:35 UTC, Rocket Lab plans to launch the There and Back Again mission with their much-anticipated first attempt to launch, or rather to catch, Electron's first-stage booster in midair with a Sikorsky helicopter. Wanting perfect conditions for their test capture, they delayed the launch for multiple days due to uncooperative weather in the recovery zone. Wednesday, May 4th, there might be a Long March 4D launch with an unknown payload. No more details are available for that, and of course, there won't be a live stream of that one either. Then on Thursday, May 5th at 6:12 a.m. Eastern, 10:12 UTC, is SpaceX Starlink 417 launch from Kennedy Space Center. If they follow their previous pattern, they'll be launching 53 more satellites and landing on a drone ship in the Atlantic. There might be another Starlink launch next Sunday from Cape Canaveral. No idea if it will be before or after SpaceWeek, since the schedule hasn't been finalized. But the various launch schedule websites, they have differences in what they're reporting, so I aggregate as best as I can, but as always, launch schedules are very fluid and can change at any time. So keep an eye on the schedule, and make sure to like and subscribe. Well, make sure to like this video, but also subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so that when there is a live stream, you get alerted of it. I want to take a moment to thank our channel members and supporters for their continuing support of this content. Let me go ahead and get to your questions. All right. Couple comments about Nightbot. Okay, RA Monster 163. All right, Raw Space, there was a bunch of news regarding Roscosmos ending cooperation on the ISS. This is not the case. So, Roscosmos is not ending cooperation. Let's see. Yeah, they're not ending cooperation. I mean, they did state that they're not going to be conducting joint experiments with Germany or experiments on behalf of Germany. They are no longer providing engines to the U.S., which is not a big deal for ULA because ULA has a large stockpile of Russian engines for their Atlas V rocket. You know, the brand new Nauka, well, not brand new, but the new Nauka science module was just delivered to the station last year, and Russia's going through a long series of spacewalks to prepare not only that module, but also the European robotic arm for operations. There's no end to the cooperation of Russia with the International Space Station partners. There's just limited impact, I would say. I mean, cosmonauts are continuing to go up and come back down and conduct operations, so I wouldn't worry about that. Now, let me see if there are any other questions that weren't caught by the the script. Not a lot of questions this week, which is okay. Okay, so Snow Kittens, in response to the Russian cooperation thing, they are not ending cooperation. It was a bad translation that took off in the media, because as we know, the media in general like to report anything they can that will get them the clicks and the views, because that is their bottom line. So oftentimes, if meaning is lost in translation, the reporting media will take it and run with it anyway. Okay, scanning for additional questions. Iwo Wisniewski, when will Crew 3 return? Well, I don't immediately know, but let me consult the Wikipedias real quick. They have, there's a Wikipedia page for International Space Station crews, as well as for each and every mission. So ISS expeditions. Scrolling down. So Crew 4 just went up, of course. But Crew 3... Okay, so the NASA TV schedule, which is usually where I go to see events that are not launches, to check up on the schedule for events that aren't launches, the comings and goings from the International Space Station, as well as spacewalks. The NASA TV schedule has those, whereas the launch websites are not going to have those. But according to the Wikipedia page, the planned departure of Crew 3 with Thomas Marshburn, Rajachari, Matthias Maurer, and Kayla Barron is planned for 5 May, which is later this week. However, it is not on the NASA TV schedule. So, now if I go to the NASA page, on May 3rd is the ISS Expedition 67 Change of Command ceremony, where Thomas Marshburn will be handing over Space Station Command to Artemayev, cosmonaut Artemayev. But they don't have the undocking and deorbit of Crew 3 on the schedule. But normally the change of command ceremony takes place the day before the departure of the of a crew. So either the 4th or the 5th. I mean, it may still be scheduled for the 5th, and maybe the NASA TV schedule guys people just haven't updated the site. So yeah, we might have a Crew 3 return on the 5th. So keep an eye out for that. RA Monster 163 asks, when will the JWST get used for new science? So now that the alignment of the telescope is complete, is, as I mentioned earlier, a 2-month process of science instrument commissioning. And after that 2-month process is complete, they should be able to commence with science operations. So sometime in July, early July, should be when we start seeing science results, or at least the initial science imaging from the JWST. It could be late June, in response to Mark Desire. It could be late June, early July. It depends on how much wiggle room there is in that 2 months of science instrument commissioning. All right, so hello Elon Musk in the chat. Good to have you. Plug me on your Twitter. All right, so it looks like that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you all for coming. Hope to catch you in the next live stream. Keep it raw, and until next time.